Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Hi there, a warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Racing Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, Graham Rodway and Paddy Powers. James Ryan are with you to look ahead to what we hope are two fantastic days at Cheltenham. At worst, one fantastic day at least. Come on, give us one. The weather is absolutely desperate, as you will be well aware. Cheltenham's got an inspection. Hopefully it'll pass it because there are two cracking cards lined up ahead there. We've got two decent races on ITV for flat fans. The Morgiana Hurdle in Ireland. Faheen makes his debut over fences as well. There's loads going on. And on Sunday, we're back at Cheltenham, and ITV also visit Fontwell for their big race of the year. So tons to be getting on with. Before we do anything though, many congratulations to Postcast legend Frank Hickey, who was actually due to be on the show this week, but he's got a valid excuse. The lovely Jill gave birth to their first child, Oliver, in the week. So well done, Frank. Well done, Jill. Fantastic news. And we look forward to having you on the Postcast before too long. But James is here with all the prices and hopefully some hot tips, as well as what Keels and G-Rod are going to give you. So grab a pen and paper, pin back your lug holes. We'll start with the first of the ITV races at Cheltenham on Saturday. It's the 150, the Bet Victor Smart Cards Handicap Chase, over 3 miles, 3.5. What a slog this will be. How do Paddy Power bet, James?
Yeah, and we're 3 places instead of 2 on this race, which is interesting given there's 7 runners in the field. But Ramses Statele as our 11-4 favourite, followed by West Approach 11-4, Big River 9-2, Pop Rockstar 9-2, and 8-1 bar. Good.
3 places, 7 runners. That can't be bad. Kills, where's the value?
Yeah, I mean, look, Ramses Statele was quite impressive over hurdles last time. I mean, you know, he was entitled to win it. He was odds on. Loves soft ground. He was second in last year's Welsh National. I think the entry's closed for that soon. Whether we want to be going up chunks in the weights for that, but this is a decent prize. And David Pipe has a cracking record at this meeting. He drew a blank last year, but he's still, since he started training, there's still only 2 trainers had more winners at this meeting than him.
Hendo and Nichols?
No, it's Paul Nichols and Philip Hobbs.
Wow.
Of
course, Hendo's purple patch was always December, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he still had his fair share of winners here, but I mean, I think Paul, since 2006, Paul Nichols had 33, Philip Hobbs 23, and David Pipe 22. So, he's one I fear, but I'm quite a big fan of Pop Rockstar, who's with John Joe O'Neill, won very easily at Chepstow last season in his final start, and then was quite a drifter at Carlisle on his return. I actually had him down in my short list as 2 and decided not to back him because he drifted, which is something I just shouldn't do. And he won very, very nicely. And he's obviously gone up a bit in the weight since then, but I think he's one of those lightly raced John Joe O'Neill staying chasers with a lot more to come. And I don't think he'll have any problems with the ground. So.
Okay. I'm well used to working with a hungover Paul Keeley, but it's quite rare to work with a hungover Graham Rodway. But you're feeling a bit green around the gills today, G-Rod, aren't you?
Yeah, a few too many last night. It was one of those nights where you just think, it'd be a nice quiet one, and it ended up not being quite that. No, nevertheless, I had done a lot of the research before, luckily.
You told me they were all non-runners and you had to start again.
I did in this race, actually.
Go on then, let's give it a whirl.
Found him out, isn't it? Go on.
The one that I liked didn't run, but lucky it didn't run, really, because I think I've come across what is the best bet of the day, or certainly one of them. Big River. Lucinda Russell trains, and this one loves heavy ground. Really,
of course, Big River. I was on. What was I on that last year? It was the 3 mile chase on the first day, wasn't it?
Cheltenham.
Yeah,
flew home.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, yeah.
Big River. I mean, if you're listening, I invite you to go back and watch the replays of his last 2 runs on the Racing Post website, because he has just been a huge eye catcher, coming from miles and miles behind. He flew home to finish 4th in that race at Cheltenham, and then last time at Ayr he got badly impeded by an early faller in an early part of the race, got knocked well back in the field, and then again, if you watch the home straight, you'll see him making up ground hand over fist, and that was over 4 miles on quick ground. Now, he wants more testing conditions, and obviously we know he's going to get that here. And we know he goes at Cheltenham because he flew up the hill last year in that Ultima. And a small field, I think, is really going to suit him, because he has this habit of just getting behind, and in a small field he should be able to stay with him, I think. So I can really see him outstanding. Big River.
Okay, James, who's your first tip of the day going to be?
Yeah, falling in with D-Rod here, Big River. Just think you love the ground. He's a pound lower than that Ultimo run last year, and goes in Cheltenham, the 3 mile 3. I think those extra 2 furlongs in comparison to the Ultimo will really pay benefits to him here. And with 3 places, I can see him staying on and probably getting the win here as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, the old 3 places is good value, isn't it? Well, definitely. Will you be going each way on that, Graham, with 3 places, just for 7 runners?
7 runners. I mean,
can't go wrong, can
no.
you? Because he might be one of those horses that does that. You know, you get these horses, don't you, where they come late and they look like they're fantastic,
I had that
but they don't
bell
actually want to kick on.
Ringing in my head, I was thinking, is he going to be that sort of horse that always runs on into 3rd or 4th? I hope not.
Okay, the big race of the weekend is the Bet Victor Gold Cup, over 2.5 miles. Fascinating race, this one. Hopefully lots of extra places, James.
Indeed, we're 6 places here, Bruce. And Sarah Delac is our favourite at 5-1, followed by Slate House is also 5-1, Spirit of the Game 6-1, Count Marable 7s, Us and Them, who we've seen a lot of support for during the week, at 15-2, Springtown Lake 11s and 12-1 bar.
Right, lads, I don't want to hear all stories about who you've backed and they don't run and so-and-so's been pulled out and rerouted. Who do you like now that we know the final field, G-Rod?
I quite like a couple at prices, actually, in this. The main one being Happy Diva. Was unlucky last year, I thought, in this race. Was travelling really well when getting caught up in that melee behind Baron Alco, and Baron Alco ended up making Versiol. I would have liked to have seen where she might have finished in this last year, given how well she was travelling. But I mean, she went on to run several good races afterwards. She finished 2nd behind ASO at the track in January. Then she finished behind Surname at Ascot. No disgrace in that. She beat quite a useful type called Magic of Light. And she's just a really solid and consistent mare, and came back at Wetherby last time, 2nd behind Guitar Pete. I think she probably needed the run. I think she's a cracking bet at double figure odds. You know, she always runs her race. She handles soft ground. We know she goes at the track. I'm sure Happy Diva's going to run well. And the other one to give a mention to is just right underneath her in the card, I think, Breland Dar. Certainly in a similar sort of price anyway. For Paul Nicholls, Barry Geraghty, quite a big price for one of Nicholls and Geraghty's. Ran 3rd in the Grand Annual last year behind Croco Bay over 2 miles. But it jumped better over 2 miles, 6.5 at Newbury. I can't remember, it was sometime last season. And he stayed on really nicely in that race, and I thought that the slower tempo over the longer distance helped his jumping, because he can be a bit of a dodgy jumper, and we saw that last time out at the track when he unseated Ryder in the race behind St Calvados. But I just think maybe going back up in trip might be the key to Breland, so I could see him running well too.
Okay, James, who's your fancy?
Yeah, I really like Bellamy to pick down here for Venetia Williams. Just a really interesting horse. We know he stays 3 miles, and I think on this ground it's going to take an awful lot in getting here. He's some really good form behind Waiting Patiently from 2 years ago, and he's still on a similar mark. Ran once last February after 15 months off, and was backed into 11-4 in a big handicap. He played it on odds on, and he was absolutely winging fences before he blew up. He just didn't quite get home that day, and they haven't done a wind up or anything with him, so kind of suggesting that maybe it was something physical. And I just think that hopefully they have him back over that. Venetia is really good at getting these horses to run really well off layoffs, and at 16-1, I just think he could be a big price and run really well in this.
James fancies Bellamy to Picton. Keels, who
these
down the side of?
These early season big races, I think you need to be fit. I mean, last year only 6 finished.
It was really attritional.
It was attritional. Where there was a lot of fallers. It was pretty incident packed. But the last time it was really, really soft ground when Alpha off one. There was also only 6 finishers, and they were walking up the hill. So, it's going to find ones out that haven't had a run. A lot of horses are going to run below form. So I don't want to go too short. I thought Slate House won a race that fell apart the other day, and I think he's a terrible favourite off a £12 higher mark. A couple that I like. Rodders has already mentioned the case for Happy Diva. She's actually finishing the first 2 on 11 of her 15 chase starts. She was 3rd on another 2 of them, and the other 2 she didn't complete. One of them when she was absolutely tanking 4 out when getting brought down. Not her fault at all in this race last year. She just runs her race all the time. I mean, that beating of Magic of Light, she went on to be 2nd in the Grand National, didn't she? So, it's just really, really consistent horse. And that race at Wetherby, that she was a 2nd in last time, has produced a winner of this race 3 times in the last few years as well. You know what I mean? So it's a good stepping stone to it. And I think each way the first 6 for a horse with her record, it's just, can't knock back her, I think, Ireland don't tend to do very well in this race, but I do quite like Us and Them for Joseph O'Brien as well. He was He made the running, stepped up to 2.5 mile on his return. I don't think he really wants to make the running, but I think it was probably lack of fitness that sort of not get home rather than the trip, because he looked all last season. When he was second in the Arkle, he came from miles off the pace to be second there. He's also second to Ornura at Aintree, so he's got that Grade 1 novice form. Might not be top class Grade 1 novice form, but I still think he's a decent horse. And he's been laid out for this, and soft ground is no issue. Trip might be an issue. Other outsiders I like are the two pipe horses, Eamon and Kinnick and Warthog. Warthog's a massive price if he could reproduce the form first time out last season. Just a little bit worried about him getting taken on up front, because he will go from the front with Sira de Lac. So for me, it is us and them and Happy Diva.
Lovely. Okay. Let's look at the 3 o'clock now. It's the Spinal Injuries Association Big Bucks Handicap Hurdle, raising money for that great cause, of course. And we've got the remarkable To Be Fair at the head of the market, James.
Yep, indeed. And we're money back on all losers if your horse finishes second, third or fourth. But To Be Fair heads are marketed at 130. Smackwater Jack 7-2. Eva's Oscar 5-1. The Butcher said 7s. Here No Evil 7s and 8-1 bar.
And who'd you fancy, James?
I'm going for Eva's Oscar here. Just looks like it could be really progressive with this kind of trip. He's a big gallop of a horse. He should be okay on this ground. Now, he is 2 pounds out of the handicap, but obviously that means that he doesn't have a lot of weight on his back. I still think he's fairly unexposed. He's a really good technique over his hurdles. I just think he could be well ahead of his mark at 120. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished the season in the high 130s. So Eva's Oscar for me here.
You sweet on anything, Keels, here?
Yeah, fairly sweet. On The Butcher Said for Ollie Murphy. Now, he was second last time to Ramses de Toy in a conditions race, and he was the only one that gave the pipe horse any sort of bother at all. He was beaten 4.5 lengths, and take into account that he was actually £17 worse off than he would have been in a handicap. He beat the other horses that were similarly rated to him out of sight. That was his first go on soft ground. It seemed to be no bother to him at all. He'd won his previous 4 on decent ground, and he clearly stays very, very well. So it'd be for me, but don't rule out To Be Fair. What a horse! He's running 16 handicap hurdles and he's won 9 of them.
It's mad, isn't it?
Can be very few horses that have come anywhere near doing that sort of thing in handicap company.
And also, Kills, if they do, like, say, Hunt, Ball, or some of these, horses, maybe of Prescott's or whatever, if they do suddenly catch fire and win handicap one after the other, it's in a matter of months. We're talking years here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just keeps coming back and doing it again and again. You've got to remember, in 2017, he was one of the favourites for the Temps final and came nowhere. And then this year, he was 40-1 and finished second.
Astonishing.
You know what I mean? He just keeps coming back for more. And he's got no problem with trip or ground.
What are you going to go for, G-Rod?
I think it depends on just how much of a slog this race is going to get. Obviously, it's going to be really testing over 3 miles. And I'm going to take a chance on the fact that it's going to be really, really, really testing. And back via Leon
You're not
Rouge.
telling anything we don't know there, are you? I mean, we know it's going to be either unraceable or just about raceable.
Yeah, but it's going to need to be like, most pond-like for via Leon Rouge, because he really is quite slow. But, he stays forever, doesn't he? And he loves mud. If they did those mud runs for horses, he'd win every single one.
What's a mud run?
One of those mud runs that they do. You do the park run.
Yeah.
They have is it called nuclear races or one of those where you can go or tough mudders, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You can go and run through mud and all over cross countries and stuff like that. I could just imagine via Leon Rouge, flying around one of those. And if he gets really testing, I think he could outstay him. I mean, he's obviously best known as a chaser, all his best forms at Aintree, but he did win at Chepstow last time, and he's running off a £5 lower mark over hurdles, so I'll take a chance on him.
Okay, the 3:30 at Cheltenham is the Bet Victor Intermediate Handicap Hurdle, 2 mile 5 furlongs. Hard races these, aren't they? James, give us the market.
Yeah, Chattelwee is our 3-1 favourite, followed by Legends Gold at 11-2, Conron 6-1, Falco Blitz 6-1, Remastered 7-1, 9-1 bar.
What have you sussed for us, Kills?
Yeah, I think the pipe horses are going to run well this week, and I quite like to look at Remastered. He went off too fast at Chepstow on his return in a race full of horses that probably needed the run, but he lasted a lot longer than the two he went with. They dropped out a lot quicker than him, and he was beating miles in the end. But as long as the jockey doesn't go too hard on him, he's definitely going to stay on pedigree. That was 2 mile 3. He's going up to 2 mile 5, but he was a good second over 2.5 earlier in his career. Trainer has him entered in what used to be the fixed brush handicap hurdle at Haydock next week, which he won with Grand Cru, who also won this race on the way there. Just quite interests me, this horse, because I think he wants bad ground, and I think that'll brush the cobwebs away.
Okay, Graham, who's your selection?
I think the favourite win. I know Kills has made some sort of argument about him not handling the ground, but
Brilliant argument.
I think it's complete nonsense. Magic Maxwell, as I call him now, David Maxwell. I mean, I would never have said that 2 or 3 years ago, but it's got to be one of the most improved jockeys riding. I mean, he really has come on in leaps and bounds, and I think he won the Champion Amateur last year. And he throws a lot of money at the game, but he's a real enthusiast, and he's doing very, very well now. And there was an interview a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, when it was going around about the time Philip Hobbs Stable Tour came out in the Racing Post, and David Maxwell was asked, of all your horses that you've got, is there one that stands out? And he said, there's one we think is pretty special, and he mentioned Jatalui. As that one, obviously unbeaten last 4 runs. And I just thought that this wasn't the strongest of races either. So I'm going to take a chance on Jatalui being as good as Magic Maxwell says he is.
Okay. James, who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going for the Jessica Harrington horse over from Ireland. Obviously, she doesn't bring too many horses over to the UK, and this is the only one that she's bringing over for this weekend. He's only 5, as I suppose a lot of these are, but he was very good at Punchestown last month. Really kicked clear and looked like he got a little bit idle out in front as a couple came from the back. But he probably has more in hand, I think, than what the market thinks, even though he has been put up a stone. But I think he's fairly battle-hardened as well, and I just think he could run well here. And Jessie really doesn't bring these over. And when she does bring them over, as we've seen in Cheltenham before, they tend to run well.
Okay, let's focus on Linfield next.
So, does an each-way bet mean that my horse has to do part of the race in reverse?
Everyone loves a newbie. That's why Paddy Power Games are giving all new customers 60 free spins on daily jackpot games. New Paddy Power Games customers only, 1 per customer. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Right then, let's get stuck into the Linfield ITV races. The first is the 245. It's the Betway Churchill Stakes over 1 mile and 2. And we've got a short price favourite in the form of Lord North, James.
Yeah, indeed. He's 4-7 here at the head of the market. Cross Batten 4-1, Caradoc 5-1, Great Currency 10s, Pactolus 12s, and Teat Jack 33s.
How's this one going to pan out, G-Rod?
Yeah, the favourite should win, Lord North. I mean, the funny thing about this horse is that he got beaten by a horse called Escobar at Ascot 2 runs ago, and then beat a horse called Pablo Escobar last time out, which I thought was quite amusing.
That is, yeah.
But nevertheless, he's massively improving, and I just think he's better than these. I expect him to win. And Cross Baton, it's interesting that Pierre-Charles Boudot is making the trip over to Linfield. I can't imagine that he would have been at Linfield before to ride Cross Baton, so you would have thought that Cross Baton will be the most likely to chase him home.
Okay, are you going to go with the favourite as well, James?
No, I'm willing to take him on. I think there's enough probably about him. The last couple of starts were on heavy. This is obviously on the all-weather surface. I know he's won on it before, but that was a bit of a nothing of a race when he went off 1-6. But I think Paradox has been really progressive this year. And his last start, I just thought that he really ground them down and still has that kind of arc of improvement about him. I think he'll love the surface. He's a really, really good moving horse. And especially at the prices, I'm just willing to take him on. Like, he's 5-1. So I think he'll run well. And I can see him going off a bit shorter than that as well.
Kils, I know how excited you are for these Linfield races. Who do you fancy here?
Yeah, overjoyed by. No, Lord North will win when he's £10 better than the rest. He's absolutely flying, so just he'll win.
Thanks for that. 3:15 at Linfield, the Betway Golden Rose Stakes over 6 furlongs. Far more competitive, as James's betting show will tell us.
Yeah, Gifted Masters are 7-2 favourite, followed by Above the Rest 6-1, Beckford 6-1, Soldier's Minute 6-1, Judicial 7-1, Leodus Dream 7-1, and 8-1 bar.
Do these float your boat, these winter all weather heats at Linfield, James?
Oh, they do indeed. I love the flat more than anything else, so these keep me ticking over during the winter.
Go on then, who's going to win this?
I kind of like Soldier's Minute here. It's more just how this race is going to be run rather than, a hell of a lot else. Think he'll get the box seat from stall 2. Joe Steeler on his inside is a hold-up horse, so he should slot in perfectly behind Gifted Master and Leah Stream, who go forward. He's also a proper 6 furlong horse here, and a lot of these are over 5 furlongs, so I'm not sure if Leah Stream will actually get home at the end. But I think the race could just pan out really well for him, and he goes in the all-weather after winning the last day of camp. So I just think he's I can't see him really being outside the first three here, and 6-1, he's the one I'll go for.
Kills, you've made copious notes on this race. What have you got for us?
Gifted Master won it 2 years ago from a wide-ish stall. He's got stall 8 now. And he wasn't beaten far last year from a wide stall as well. And I thought he just made a nice return last time, went second to World Glory over 7 furlong. I think if he gets his normal break, he'll be alongside Soldier's Minute within a matter of seconds. And he's a better horse. So he'll win.
Okay. G-Rod.
I thought Gifted Master would win as well. I just thought that he would make all. He's a very fast horse. Last time out just got done by War Glory over 7, drops back to 6. And there's a lot of 5 furlong horses in it. As long as he goes out and makes it a test, I think he'll outstay him.
Okay. There was a trace of enthusiasm at the end of that. Thanks for that. Blimey, it's like sitting next to Morrissey. I'm talking Kills actually more than you. He was miles more miserable during that section. Perhaps the Morgiana hurdle at Punchestown will reinvigorate the studio. It takes place at 2 o'clock. It's over 2.5 miles a furlong. And James, how do Paddy Power bet on it?
Classical Dreams are 4-9 favourite, followed by Saldier 4-1, Sharjah 4-1, 25-1, Petit Mouchoir, and Yaha Fizz is 100.
Kills, am I right in thinking that you think Classical Dream will win the Champion Hurdle next year?
I just thought he looked really, really good last year, and both the Supreme and again at Punchestown. By the same token, if there's a time to take these horses on, it's first time out, because this is when they are stepping up in class, and if they're gonna get beat, they're gonna get found out. It'll be straight away. Whether or not he will or not, I don't know. I quite like Sharjah as an early season horse in these small fields with a turn of foot. So it might play to his strengths. Not a race I'm going to bet in, but I'm hoping to see the best out of Classical Dream. I was just warned. I was at the London Racing Club on Wednesday, and one of the guys said that there's only one winner of the Supreme Novice Hurdle ever gone on to win the Champion Hurdle the following year.
Faheen?
No, I can't remember who it was. I don't know.
it? Blimey, only one.
Only one.
Binocular got beat in it and then won it.
Yeah.
Binocular got beat in it. Brave Inca won it 2 years after. But,
Wow.
but only one has gone on in the second season from winning.
And yet that's, the programme is structured for that to be the natural
Yeah,
stepping
exactly.
stone.
So, we'll see. But I mean, he's, to me, he looked different class at the end of last season. Came on really quickly. He definitely wants a bit of cut in the ground, which is, he's going to get for most of the year by the looks of it. He's very much the one to beat.
Is it your Champion Hurdle fancy at this stage, G-Rod?
Yeah, he heads market, doesn't he? So he's probably most people's idea of the winner, I suppose, at the moment. But I mean, he was wildly impressive when he won at Cheltenham in a good time, and he did it again at Punchestown and backed it up. Now, he obviously makes the step up against the big boys here, although I would say probably big boy, because I think that Sharjah is the only one really that has got the form to beat him. And I think that he is constantly underrated, Sharjah. Had he won that novice hurdle when he fell at Leopardstown at the last, when he was going to win it a couple of years ago, maybe he might, he seems to have always been a bit underestimated since then. But I mean, he did make giant strides last season, big improvement, won the Galway hurdle. He handles soft ground. It's funny because you think to yourself, well, surely on ratings and form, Classical Dream's probably got to improve to beat Sharjah, yet Classical Dream is long odds on to win this race. Now, obviously, I'm expecting Classical Dream to make the improvement that we think he would, but would you back him at long odds on to do so?
That improvement is built into the price, isn't it? It's assumed.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you could, with 5 runners, you can back Sharjah each way. I don't mind backing each way in 5 runner fields. You've got
No, it's
40%
fine.
of the places going for
Yeah,
you.
quarterly odds.
Yeah.
So, I think Sharjah is the main danger. Expect Classical Dream will win, but yeah, if I had to bet, I'd rather back Sharjah.
Okay. Are you going to have a bet in it, James?
I will, and unfortunately I'm going to put up the other one, Saldier. I think he's a really interesting horse, still, very unexposed and still only a 5-year-old, similar to Classical Dream. But last year in the Fishery Lane at Naas, he was going to beat Esper Dalla and of course won the Champion Hurdle all hands down, and just didn't meet the last well and fell. So he still has that kind of arc of potential improvement. He'll go on the ground. I think Sharjah, remember Paddy Mullen saying last year that he's such a speed horse and he'd want him on good ground. Even though he won the Galway Hurdle obviously on softer ground against kind of a lesser class of horse. But I just think Saldier has that potential that he could improve quite a lot. Obviously, Classical Dream would be hard to beat, but for the each way purposes of this, I think Saldier could go well, and I'd even have him as kind of a Champion Hurdle outsider at this stage of the season.
Interesting stuff. Okay, let's see what else the lads fancy on Saturday. We've got Uttoxeter, Wetherby, we've got Wolverhampton. G-Rod, where do you want to start?
Yeah, I just got 2 at Linfield, actually. There's just a horse that I've been following off a cliff. I'm in danger of continuing to keep following it off a cliff and going over that cliff, but we're going to give it another chance. That's So Beloved in the 1 o'clock. This one hasn't...
That's funny.
Well, he's going to tell you how long it is since he won a race. Go on.
This one hasn't won. Hasn't won for more than 3 years. Yeah, I think 2015 or 16 it was. It was a long old time ago, and even Tom Siegel got suckered in with it a couple of weeks ago when I tipped it as well for an Ascot handicap. But So Beloved does keep running well, and he caught the. I don't think things really. The reason I'm laughing is you can make this argument about him every time he runs, but nothing seemed to go right for him at Ascot last time. He just sort of got a bit murdered, and then had to fight his way through a gap and finished quite well in a decent race behind Escobar. Lord North, who obviously gone on and won since, is hot favourite for the Churchill Stakes. And it's just a double figure price. And Adam Kirby's riding. It's quite a positive booking. He's a course and distance winner. There's going to be a short price favourite in it called Al Rajar of John Gosden's, who could improve, could be the big improver. But I just thought So Beloved each way. I just can't see him win and not have any money on him. So I will be.
Good thing is you never get hard luck stories on the all-weather at Linfield, do you? And who's the other one?
The other one is Simply Beautiful in the 210 at Linfield for Aidan O'Brien. It just caught my eye. He had a similar sort of horse called Delphinia win a listed race at Linfield a few weeks ago. Obviously, Delphinia are a much stronger form, having coming in running in Group 1s and Group 2s and was taking a huge drop in class. And she looked in big trouble and then flew home and won quite cosily in the end. Now, I could see a similar thing happening here because Simply Beautiful, all her best form is over slightly further, mile 4, mile 6, but she has got form at a mile and a quarter. It is quite a sharp track on Enfield, and I could just get the feeling she's going to get outpaced on the bend and then fly down the outside. So Simply Beautiful in the 210 at Linfield.
James, who are your other selections away from the TV cameras?
Yeah, a different one in the 210 Linfield. I think there's potentially a very exciting filly in this, and Magic Lily is having her second start after 2 years off. I suppose the fact that they're persisting with her in the first place suggests that she could be very good. It's from the Appleby stable, and of course she's out of Oaks Heroine, Dancing Rain. Her third to Lauren's in the Fillies Mile, and just her second start. She was only beaten 3/4 of a length 2 years ago now, but she had a lovely first start back in France, and I just think she could be pretty exciting filly. I wouldn't be shocked if she ended up running in some group company in Dubai over the winter. The Cheltenham, the 115, I think Manello Warrior could be a proper chaser this year. He was just behind Holstone there in his chasing debut, and I think he'll improve greatly for that run. Don't see the ground being an issue, and he's probably one of my horses to follow for this season. Of course, the Punchestown 1250, nearly the race of the day. Faheen making his return in the beginner's chase, first start over fences. Could be fairly electric stuff, and it's going to be no walkover as Glenn Lowe, of course, second in the Toms 2 years ago, and cracking smarter in opposition. So that'll be as exciting as a race to watch on Saturday. And the Punchestown 235, Blue Sari making his reappearance off the back of his second in the Cheltenham bumper last year.
Okay, thanks, James. Kills is looking at a race on the live commentary on the Racing Post live text. Any joy?
I've just seen about get out of trouble. I just tipped something and it's ended up getting odds on, but it's one. But
it's one.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, it's
got
me off the cold list. Didn't think it'd be as short as it was, but
okay, mate.
But yeah, I just the embarrassment of tipping something that's odds on and then loses.
It's not embarrassing if they win. Honestly, punters don't mind. When you say odds on, it's not fours on, is it?
No, no, it's not. No. But I mean, it was about 5 to 5. But I don't like tipping short. It just means I've run out of inspiration. You know what I'm like. Anyway, I've got a few. That 115 at Cheltenham. They put cheek pieces on Holstone. I don't think they're going to make him stay any better. You know what I mean? And that's his problem. And the ground's bottomless. And he will probably look like winning and stop again. Because he really, if you look at his record over 3 mile, he has won over 3 mile, but he just runs out of puff. I'm quite interested. I've got a soft spot for II Charlie, who will just plod along all day. And I'm sure that once he's got his experience over fences, he'll be running in things like the Ida at some point in his life. Like, you know what I mean? But I think he might go well because he has got a bit of talent about him. He's a bit of a funny character, but he's definitely going to stay. So give him a shot. In the 120 at Uttoxeter, back to the Thatch, another soft ground staying mud lover. I thought he ran okay on his return at Cheltenham, finished 7th. He's top weight there. I think he might just outclass him despite the weight in the ground. 2:15 at Wetherby. Mr. Antolini for a horse going chasing as a 9-year-old first time up. I thought he shaped really well when second to Black Op. I mean, Black Op.
That was a Frank Hickey cliff.
Black Op. Yeah, Black Op blew him away. But Mr. Antolini shaped really, really nicely, and he's in a race that I think he can probably win. Nigel Twiston-Davies, Sam Twiston-Davies gone up there, got a couple of interesting horses. They got a very good boy on good boy Bobby, it's called, earlier on the card, that only just got touched off by Brewing Up at Storm, who won earlier in the week. He's running there. So they're the partnership to watch there. But in the 3:20 at Wetherby, Aristo Duplessis, 9-year-old, tumbled right down the weights this year. He returned at Wetherby after a wind up, ran quite a nice eye-catching race, finished 4th. He has won 4 times at the track. Ground can't be soft enough, so we'll go well. And I did actually look at Linfield. They both talked about the 2:10, but I thought Santasia won so easily last time. I was surprised to see she was on offer at 7-2. So that's it. But if she does, she'll win. You know, she just looked very good. Looked a typical John Gosling improver. He's going to have a big day there tomorrow.
Okay, well done.
Yeah.
Let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Paul Keeley.
Yeah, the butcher said 3 o'clock Cheltenham.
Graham Rodway.
Big River, 150 Cheltenham.
James Ryan.
Bellamy they picked down in the FR Victor Gold Cup.
Lovely. Let's do Sunday next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Okay, welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, Graham Rodway and Paddy Powers, James Ryan. And we are looking ahead to one of the best Sundays of the year. It's the final day of the November meeting at Cheltenham. Loads of races on ITV4, the first of which is the 1:15. These times may be subject to change if the Saturday card was off and they try and jam the Bet Victor Gold Cup into the Sunday schedule. But as things stand, it's the 1:15, it's the Glen Farclas cross-country handicap chase. Was due to be run on Friday, is going to be run on Sunday. And James, how do Paddy Power bet?
Yeah, and we're money back as a free bet if your horse finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th in this as well. And excuse my pronunciation here, but Urgant de Gregain is 5-2. Fact of the matter, 4-1. Kingswell Theatre 11-2, T for 2, 8-1, Chic Name 9-1 and 10-1 bar.
Your pronunciation was so beautiful that as a reward you can go first, James. Who wins the cross country?
Good. Well, I think Emmanuel Clayou could have the winner of this, but I'm not sure it's going to be Urgent de Gregain. He does really well on this Cheltenham cross country course. Albeit yet to get his head in front in this particular race, but of course he's had a couple of winners over the years, and a lot of horses have run well. I'm going for a second string here. I just think he could be very much overlooked. Diesel Dallier. He's only a 6-year-old and quite new to the game of cross-country racing, but he was staying on really well the last day in Vichy after he made a terrible mistake at the water. So I just think he's probably coming in a bit under the radar, and of course down the very bottom of the weight, only carrying 10 stone 4, and Charlie Deutsch takes the ride. And I just think he looks a little overpriced here at 12-1. He's the one I'm going to go for.
Kills, there was a time when I wouldn't have even bothered asking you because you hated the cross-country races so much, but you've warmed to them.
There's something to bet on, aren't they? You know what I mean? I think we had a proper chunk on Tiger Roll at Cheltenham, didn't we, just for the sake of it? And me and Rodders, we're going Sunday. We might end up going in the middle of the park to watch it as well.
Oh, you should do, if you've never done that.
Bottomless it is.
I said to him earlier, trying to convince him, because I think that might finally turn him into a lover of the cross country if he goes up and sees it close up.
Yeah, you've got to. It's a really good thing to do.
Yeah. So probably will. That's the plan anyway. But anyway, Kingswell Theatre won this race 2 years ago. He's on a similar mark. He was back from a wind operation recently. I thought he shaped quite well in the Durham National. I think it was, when 5th. At Sedgefield. Looks like he's been laid out for it. He was fourth in the December running of this in 2017 as well. So he obviously likes the track. I think he'll run well. It'll be hard to kick out of the frame.
Who do you like, G-Rod?
Yeah, the problem is, although I am a massive fan of the cross country, I very rarely bet in them. I just like to go in the middle and have a break and, go and watch them jump a few hedges and ditches and railed hedges and banks and whatever they call them. So,
you end up in a ditch last night.
My own version of cross country. It sounds like the boys have actually done a lot more work on it than me. I mean, if I was going to bet, I'd probably bet, just because I've seen him run a few times there and run well, fact of the matter.
It's like talking to your uncle who knows enough about, I've seen that horse run a few times, so I'm going to back him.
Yeah,
It's meant to be a bit more science if you're employed as a Racing Post tipster.
He's an old favourite of mine because, when I go over there, stand in the middle, I see Fact of the Matter going around loads and loads of times, and he's always thereabouts. So, that'll do for me.
Right.
Gav Sheehan as well. I like Gav Sheehan.
You just about added some substance to your case at the end there, but that was pretty flimsy. The 150 is at Cheltenham is the Racing Post #responsible gambling Arkle Trophy Trial. Novice Chase, 2 miles, class field. James, what's the latest betting?
Yeah, Al Dancer is 11-8, co-favourite with Getaway Trump. Rouge Vif 4-1, and Put the Kettle on 6s.
Low on quantity, high on quality. Where's the money going to go, Kills?
Yeah, I've got this sneak feeling that, I really liked Al Dancer last year. I think he's going to be a horse that doesn't quite make it, and he didn't really do it for me, and I don't think he wants to ground as bottomless as he's going to be either. I thought Getaway Trump travelled all over him and will come on a lot for the run, but I don't think either of them special, so I'll take a chance with Rouge Vif. I was quite impressed with that at market raising. I thought he jumped really nicely down the back, made a couple of late errors, but stayed on really strongly. Won't mind the conditions, and the other one and the outsider as well. I might have a little save on. I'll take the front 2 on, basically.
Okay. Graham, what's your approach going to be here?
Yeah, I was at Cheltenham that Friday when Getaway Trump and Al Dancer ran, and I was in the paddock beforehand, and Getaway Trump was really carrying an awful lot of condition. I mean, an awful lot of condition. I am no paddock judge, but I mean, even I could see that he was going to need that run. Al Dancer was carrying a little bit as well, but I can't believe Getaway Trump won't reverse the form. Traded at 1.12 in running to beat Al Dancer last time. He was cruising all over him coming to the second last, and he just completely blew up as though he was in need of the run. He looked like he was in need of the run. And provided he handles the ground, he has won on heavy, but most of his best form is on better, and he can be a bit keen going. But he does stay a bit further than this, so provided he handles the ground, I think Getaway Trump will return? What do we say?
Reverse, yeah.
Reverse the form.
Okay, that's right. That little known expression.
Although someone the other day said you can't say reverse the form, you've got to say reverse the places. I don't know why, but...
I mean, if you started picking holes in the logic of racing expression all day, wouldn't you? Poor old Al Dancer, no love for him in the studio. James, any from you for him?
No love as well. Going with Graham's argument here and Getaway Trump, I thought he ran really well the last day, the way he travelled. And Paul Nichols said at the start of the year that this horse came back from the summer break a month later than anything else, and just basically wasn't ready to run. But he needed to get a run into him if he was going to run in this race. So you just expect him to come on leaps and bounds here, and of course he's getting £3 as well from Al Dancer. So I can see him going off favourite in this, and I think he'll be hard to beat.
Lovely. There's only 4 runners in our next race as well, but it is equally fascinating. It's the 225. It's the Schlur Chase over 2 miles. James, take it away with a show.
Yeah, Defi Desoy is 5-4 favourite. Political Log 13-8. St Calvados 4-1. Simply Ned 9-1.
G-Rod, this will be a good one, won't it?
Yeah, it's a cracker, isn't it? Fantastic race. And it's exciting because we obviously got one that sets the standard in Politolog and the big up-and-comer in Defi Desoy, and that is really what jump racing is all about, I always think, seeing the established stars and whether the up-and-comers can then go and better them. And obviously Defi Desoy's form has worked out remarkably well, hasn't it, with Lost in Translation and Vindication and all of that lot. But I'm just not convinced that he wants 2 miles. I think maybe he's a bit better over further. Philip Robb says in his stable tour that most Triumph hurdle winners tend to stay well, and he thinks that he'll get 3 miles. I know it's obviously going to be very, very testing ground, but this is going to be no easy task for Defi Desoy. So I'm happy to take him on. Politolog did finish second in the champion chase, but most of his best form has come away from Cheltenham. That was really the first time he's shown any semblance of form at the track. So with question marks over both, I'm happy to back St Calvados, who was impressive when winning over the course and distance last time on really testing ground in a race that I don't think was bad. As I say, I've tipped Brel Undaru, who unseated in that. And I think that he can make the step up, St Calvados.
Okay, we got there in the end. Who do you like, James?
I'm going for Politolog, and I just think he'll be ready first time out. He's won his comeback every year for the last 3 years, and obviously Paul Nichols loves this meeting. Ran close to a career best over course and in March last year behind Altior. I just don't know if Phil Hobbs will have definitely fully cranked, especially over this 2 miles on his first start of the year. So it'll be Politolog for me.
Have you got a strong view, Kills?
I haven't got a strong view. I think Politolog prefers going the other way round. I know he finished second in the champion chase, but I think if you took Altior out of the race, everyone would have said what a bad champion chase that was. And Altior only won it by a length and a quarter. I was going to back St Calvados at a bigger price, but the price is gone now. I think Defi just was the right fav. I don't think I've got any problem with him being a 2 miler either. I thought he travelled well at Punchestown, and if there's an anti-post bet for the champion chase now, it's probably him because he's 16-1 in the place, which is a big price when you consider Altior probably won't be going. Chacun pour soi, who I love and beat him, he only ran twice last year, and that was the first time in 3 years, and he's a fragile horse.
Duvern will win after track. What?
That'd be great to see it, wouldn't it? But again, how long is he going to last? I mean, we only need. It wouldn't surprise you if next week they said he's gone wrong again, would they?
Isn't it heartbreaking when you saw him yesterday? Saw these massive absences he's had. I mean,
yeah, you can see it. But what a fantastic horse, all the same.
It certainly is. Okay, right then. It gets a bit tougher now. The 3 o'clock is the Unibet Greatwood Handicap Hurdle. 15 runners. Please show some mercy with 4 places, James.
Yeah, we are indeed 4 places at the moment. And Monster and Lecoq is our 4-1 favourite, followed by Benny's Bridge 13-2, Dame de Campagna 8-1, Keldistan 9-1, Queet Enough 9-1, Gumball 10-1, 10-1 bar.
And we're back with you to go first, James.
Yeah, so I started off liking Countster here, and after looking into why Barry wasn't right, I've come down on Dame de Campagna. Well, she missed all of last season. She's done absolutely nothing wrong with her career so far, winning a Mayor's List hurdle as she liked with her ears pricked on her previous start, albeit quite a long time ago. She's now 2 pounds lower than what she was even then. She's just a mare who could just have a stone or more up her sleeve. And Nicky Henderson really likes her. Like in the Stable Tour, she's gorgeous and boasts some useful novice form over hurdles, but missed last season. I'm delighted with how she's training, and we schooled her over fences so she could switch. But I really like her hurdle mark at the moment. So she just could be one that could be absolutely tucked in here. And I'm willing to take a chance off the back of the huge layoff and Nicky to have her ready. So yeah, that's the one I'm going for.
Dame de Compiègne is James Ryan's selection. Who is Paul Keeley's selection?
Yeah, Benny's Bridge. He's run twice at Cheltenham, different track each time, and he's hacked up both times. He won at the trials meeting in a handicap, and then he won last month when the jockey just sat at the back, and it was well, when it's time to go, I'll go sort of thing. And he just stormed clear, 1 by 7 lengths really easily. Okay, he's up £10 for that, but I think he's still got a long way to go. Ground is different. I gather the jockey thinks it'll suit pretty well, so it won't be any problem if he's grown up compared to last year. He obviously loves the track. My only issue is in a big field at Cheltenham on hurdles, it's not that easy to come from the back when they all go over to the far side, and they're all running on that same strip of ground.
Do they need to do that?
Yeah.
They do.
If you go on the inside, if you just go and watch previous runs, you look all the horses that stay on the inside, they finish tailed off in the end.
I know they do round the bottom bend, but can you actually? I know you need to be wide going into the straight.
I think you need to be. Wide all the
Golden
time.
Highway.
I think very much so. Yeah, I think over time. So that's the problem. I mean, you can almost. I wouldn't want to see. I mean, obviously, Paddy Brennan's riding this time. Conor Brace was on last time, and he was able to hold him up and put him where he wanted. I wouldn't want to see him right at the back. And then coming through horses that are falling back through the slop, But I still think he's potentially the best handicap horse in the race.
There was a very interesting piece by Keith Melrose today about how at Cheltenham you do need to be prominent generally. Obviously, not every single time, but that made for interesting reading. Every Friday in the Racing Post, our betting editor Keith Melrose with some really interesting angles. Check that out. Meanwhile, what is Graham's Greatwood good thing?
I've got 2.
Glad I gave that the big build up.
And I quite like Benny's Bridge as well, but I know that he's not in my 2. My main one would be Quite Enough for Evan Williams and Adam Wedge. Ran really well last time at Chelmsford, I almost said, then Chepstow. He was second behind Speed Company with one of Kills' old favourites in third, Highest Sun. And he just looks to me like a typical Evan Williams slow burner. And he's brought him through nicely. I think that he'll improve for that run. He likes testing ground, all his best forms on testing ground. And the other one that I'm going to back is Zanza. Philip Hobbs and Richard Johnson. Was very, very disappointing first time out, but still was well fancied last time out. And Newbury, and made no mistake, was quite impressive when scoring there. And I think Zanza is another potential improver. It's a great race.
It certainly is. It's a really cracking card. It's probably the best card of the three, isn't it? Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Do you, Kills? The Sunday's the best card, isn't it?
It is a very good card, yeah. Yeah, it is
And
a very good card, yeah.
the other ITV race is at 3:30. It's the Sky Bet Supreme Trial Novices Hurdle. 5 go to post. And James, how do you bet on this one?
Yeah, Echo is our 7-4 favourite. Scargiroux 11-4. Pacify 4-1. Hang in there 4-1. And Aiden de Hook 7-1.
What's poor old Pacifier done not to be favoured, Kills?
Well, he's running on different ground for a start, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? And you would hope the better horses would be coming out. Doesn't mean he can't win, but you would hope better horses would be coming out. Whether Echo is one of the better horses or not, I don't know. Just doesn't really convince me. And I know he won easily enough at Ascot. I laid him at Ascot, funny enough, on what was an incredibly expensive day. That's just not convinced by either of them, to be honest. And I'm going to go for the outsider of the lot, Eden DeHoo, trained by David Pipe. Now, he was odds on. He's obviously really well regarded. He was odds on to beat IK Brunel, and he ended up getting beaten 6 lengths on his hurdles debut. But I don't think that was a bad run. IK Brunel, we'll see how he goes. He's in the first race on Saturday, running in the Ballymore trial, and apparently Ollie Murphy really thinks a lot of him as well. So we'll see how that goes on. We'll get that line of form to look at, but I'd imagine Eden DeHoo's going to step up quite a bit on what he's done, but he needs to.
G-Rod, who are you going to go for?
Yeah, I quite fancy one in this. Hang in there for Emma Lavelle.
You're hanging.
Yeah, we'll hang in there in about 10 minutes. You'll tell us why.
Hang in there, yeah. And, Lavelle does well with these sorts of horses that she gets from Ireland. She brings them over. They've had a couple of runs in Ireland. Then they make big step up. And the unseated rider first time out at Exeter. And then last time at the track, absolutely thrashed Getaway Fred. It was very, very impressive. Now, all his best form is on good ground, but it's yet to really run on testing ground. But I did do my research. And hanging there is related to a horse called Logical Song. And when I went through Logical Song's form, I mean, loved heavy ground. He won 4 or 5 races, all on heavy or soft to heavy. So really testing conditions suited that. And also a half-brother to French winner, Latou's Dancer. And when I looked at that one, that had won on heavy ground as well. So judged purely on pedigree, this hang in there is going to improve significantly for a switch to testing conditions. And he doesn't need to improve that much to win anyway on his form from Exeter and Ferias last season when he was a good second behind Le Tector in a maiden hurdle there.
OK, James, the boys don't like the front 3 in the market. Do you like any of those?
It's a tricky enough race to sort them out, and kind of by default ended up coming down Echo. He's done nothing wrong, fairly bolting up in 2 starts. Looked like he's improved a lot over the summer, and just there still could be more improvement. And like, he looked fairly green the first day over hurdles, and then he looked fairly slick over his hurdles. Then again, the last day, Pacify is giving them £5, so it's hard to like him when he hasn't beaten much. But I think Nichols obviously loves this meeting, and I think I'll stick with Echo.
OK, there's a Sunday bonus for ITV viewers. The 240 at Fontwell, the Sun Racing Southern National Handicap Chase, over 3 miles, 3.5, which is about 5 laps, 7 runners. How do Paddy Power bet?
The 2 Amigos is 11-4. Captain Catastock 11-4. Danro Santos 7-2. The Caller 5-1. One of Us 6-1. Plasma 10s and Invincible Cave is 16-1.
G-Rod, have you got a strong view on this race?
Yeah, one of the better bets on Sunday in this race. Captain Catastock for Paul Nichols and Lorcan Williams. Claims £3. Excellent value for that. And he showed that when winning on Diego de Charmille a couple of weeks ago, albeit controversially, when he almost got ditched coming to the last, didn't he? But yeah, I mean, he's well worth his £3 claim. The horse loves the mud, Nichols says, in his stable tour. So conditions are going to be right up his street. He's a course winner last season. So this weird figure of 8 track won't pose any problems. And I thought he had a nice po-up opener first time out. I think it was at Wincanton. That should have put him spot on for this race.
You will have heard throughout the broadcast G-Rod referring to Stable Tour comments, and that is one of the big benefits of being a Racing Post member's ultimate member, because what we do is we take the comments that the trainers make in these Stable Tours and we slice and dice them and put them with the horse's profile. So if you click on the horse's profile, you'll get the Stable Tour comment if there is one. It's a fantastic feature, and G-Rod, I think it's something that you put quite a bit of store on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, especially at this early stage of the season. It's great to have a good idea of where they think their horses are, these trainers, and the stable tours are an invaluable resource.
James, we've been hearing you quote a couple of stable tours as well. Do you see it as one of the more valuable features there? Sounds like a Racing Post advert, this, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I love it, especially at the start of the season. Same with the Flash. You just get a real kind of insight into what's going on. If a horse coming back or if they need to run it, just kind of an extra bit of an angle.
Okay, well, it's party political broadcast season, so why shouldn't I do one for the Racing Post? Anyway, never mind that. Who wins the Sussex Nash, James?
It's a tricky race, but I'm going for Tasma here for the Skelton team. Just been fairly consistent at this level since joining the Skelton team from Mick Easterby. I just think it'll be competitive here in what is a pretty open race. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're coming down towards the finish and still there. She'll stay and go on the ground, and just think it'll be thereabouts.
Kills, the two great facts about you. You've never owned a pair of blue jeans and you've never been to Fontwell, have you?
I've never been to Fontwell. I keep meaning to go. I will go at some stage. We need to get down there. Definitely.
Who wins this?
Well, funny, I was at Cheltenham for this meeting last year and I drew a complete blank, and the one horse that got me out of trouble was Shamro Santos, who won the race pretty easily. He's only a pound higher now. Returns after a wind up. It's quite clearly been laid out for it. So I shall go in again.
Okay, James, do you fancy anything else on Sunday?
Punchestown 105. Stormy Ireland's making her return against stablemate Eglantine Desai, who won the Mayor's Novice last year. Punchestown again, the 250. Battle over Doyen looked really good from winning his Novice. Chase and should have proven bunch for it. And of course, Davy Russell back on board after O'Leary slandering him during the week. It's a pretty good race at any second now, an expatriate taking him on. So that should be a bit of a belter, the 250 at Punchestown.
Kills, any other Sunday fancies for us?
Yeah, a couple. Duke de Beauchamp, 12:45 Cheltenham, trained by John Joe O'Neill. Ran really nicely on soft ground, won a handicap at Plumpton, then finished second to a short price winner at Sandown next time. Thought enough of him to send him over for a handicap at the Punchestown Festival. Didn't show there, but he comes back on bottomless ground, which I'm sure he's going to love. He's by Sadler Maker, who has an extraordinary record at Haydock as a sire, partly because he's the sire, obviously, of Bristol de Mai. But his horses, he has an exceptional record on heavy ground, Sadler Maker, and he's just going to love it.
Is that it?
And Our Merling, 205 at Fontwell. Been unlucky to run into some well-handicapped horses in his time, but he ran well on his return at Newbury the other day, and he tops the weights here, I think, and I think he'll take a lot of beating.
G-Rod, do you want to sign off with a flourish?
Well, I'm hoping our coach gets there nice and early on Sunday at Cheltenham, because I do want to see the 12:05 at Punchestown, the Risk of Thunder, because Yamworth is running over Banks. So that's going to be really interesting to see how he takes to Banks, doesn't he, for Ender Bolger. I mean, he was a right old rogue, wasn't he, over hurdles? But I mean, Bolger's turned lesser horses than him into champions.
Well, I was talking about this the other day, actually. Guard Champetra, when he went, and he thought to himself, this has got to be one of the least likely horses to handle this cross-country lark. And he absolutely loved it. So you never know.
Could be perfect.
But you would say exactly the same. Yamworth has to be one of the least likely horses ever going.
Mark Walsh is riding him over the other three stablemate. So he must think that he might handle it. And if the engine's still there, it will happen, won't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Excellent. So you boys are off to Cheltenham on Sunday. It's the Racing Post Jolly Up, isn't it? I can't make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'll be good fun.
Yeah, and Saturday, what does that hold, Kills?
Well, I'm going to behave myself on Saturday, and I was going to be able to get up for the early coach.
Okay, G-Rod, are you working Saturday?
Yeah, I'm live tipster on Saturday, so race day live at racingpost.com. If you've got any questions.
Excellent. And James, what does the weekend hold for you, my friend?
Yeah, I'll probably get down to Punchestown tomorrow and then just find myself then on Sunday, just relax,
Lovely stuff. Have we had plenty of rain over there? I guess the terrain will be fairly squishy at Punchestown, won't it?
Yeah, it will. It's been horrific over here. It's as bad as I can remember now without it being kind of a major storm, but it hasn't been the nicest getting up in the mornings here now.
No, absolutely not. We need the rain to relent so that we can enjoy some racing. Okay, chaps, thank you very much indeed. Don't forget, if you enjoy the shows, please make sure you rate, review and subscribe wherever you're listening. We've got a treat on Monday because Tom Siegel is back on the review postcast with Maddie Plale and Dave Orton. Don't miss that. We've got golf on Wednesday, football Thursday, and then we're back next Friday for another Racing Post weekend postcast.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. Getting a road named after you in your hometown, special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power games, not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins an average £40,000 jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.